Angela, a busy week in Brighton.
Very much so, both in sort of speaking at meetings, meeting at people at events, having one-to-one meetings or group meetings, and a fair bit of TV and radio during the week as well.
Was that, so to speak, deliberate? You know, I think you probably had a back seat over the last few years. Was it a employ?
I was asked to do them, so I'm more available to do media on national issues than I have been previously. I've always done lots of local, as you know, but I was speaking at lots of events in my new government role. As you know, I'm the Minister for what's called the third sector, charities, social enterprises, voluntary sector. So I spoke at a lot of meetings about those kind of issues, and the press picked up on some of those, but also on sort of general political situation. Given the role I've had in Downing Street in the past, the press were quite interested in some of the things I was doing and asked me to comment on the activities at conference.
But it's very much back into the cut and thrust, because, for example, on the Sunday night on Radio 5, you were
listening, were you?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Why didn't you phone in?
Well, because Fraser Nelson phoned in, and Fraser, that cut and thrust of calling you a liar, do you enjoy that challenge?
I never speak to people in those terms. I'm always quite shocked when people speak to me. I think there's a degree of courtesy and politeness. You can have a good cut and thrust and political debate, but that just descends into abuse. But then perhaps he wasn't so sure of his arguments and he was safer retreating into abuse. But, you know, I've been in politics a long time. You deal with that.
What's the atmosphere down at Brighton? Was it doom and gloom, or was it upbeat?
It was mixed, actually. It wasn't really doom and gloom. It was subdued sometimes, but very determined. And, you know, a lot of the MPs are in seats that are marginal seats. We've got a lot of seats with quite small majorities, mine among them. And I think what the conference did for us this year, particularly with Gordon Brown's speech and some of the others, was say, hang on, we're up for a fight here. Don't count us out yet. It's a mistake. We're really up for a fight. But he gave us a reason to fight. Just to say you're going to fight isn't enough. You have to say why you're going to fight. And I think he did that at the conference in a way that wasn't sort of pie in the sky. It was realistic about where we are. But it showed we should fight and we've got reason to fight.
Do you feel that because of your role with Gordon Brown before, that people are in many ways looking for a way in from you to say something?
Sometimes. What does the Prime Minister think about this, Angela? Like, if I knew, I'm going to tell them. When would the election be? Would I tell you? And things like what's going to be in the manifesto and what's going to be announced next week. So a lot of silly questions like that even if I knew the answers, I'm not going to go around shouting about them, and I don't know the answers. But I think there's also trying to get a sense of the Prime Minister's mood and what he's thinking, how determined he is, and those sort of things, obviously, I can answer and respond to.
On many occasions over the week, you referred to being on the doorstep in Basildon and reflecting back on Basildon and South Basildon, East Thurrock. What is the mood, would you say, in your recent experience of the last couple of months?
It's interesting. Whenever I was talking to the Prime Minister, I always related back to what happens in my constituency on the ground, because I think my constituents are pretty typical, normal, decent people, and what they say to me is worth telling not just the press but the Prime Minister as well. It's mixed. People have obviously been very worried during the recession. Even those that haven't lost jobs or haven't lost time have been worried about what could happen to them in the future and the impact it's having on them. So lots of concern around those issues. And that spawns other issues. So somebody may have an issue with their housing, it may be job related, may be worried about their kids getting the right skills and the right qualifications. So a whole range of issues. So certainly my workload and those in my office working with me, our workload has increased during the recession. The message I get was, we want the Labour Party to do better. We expect this and X, Y and Z of you, quite legitimately. But that's why I found the Sun so interesting in calling for Cameron. The deal's not done. Now, if David Cameron is going sort of measuring up for the curtains at Downing Street, I think he's getting a bit ahead of himself. Because the impression I get is, if people are saying, well, we might vote Tory, it's not for any enthusiasm for the Conservative Party. Might be disappointed with us and wanting us to do better. But it's not like it was in 1996 before we won the election in 1997.
Going back to 97 and your neighbouring constituency, the effect of Blair's Babes was very apparent. And with Andrew stepping down, would you call for an all-women shortlist?
I wouldn't, no. I just think it's important, more than anything, we have local candidates stand in election. And the key for me, and I think what's been one of my great strengths as an MP, if I've had strengths, is that I've been local. And when you're local, you've just got a different feel for things. Now, that's not to say only local people can ever be MPs, but I do think it gives you an edge in understanding your constituency. So, male or female, I'd say no, widest choice you can get, but just look at the local issues here.
So John, Val or Carl then?
I'm not actually a member of that constituency, but...